So recently we just reviewed the ASUS VivoBook S15 M433, and today this red colored laptop here is the ASUS VivoBook S15 S533. So you might have noticed there are some differences in the name itself, and the first S, whatever number there, is actually to denote the size of the laptop, and then the alphabet M or S denotes it's either AMD based, which is M, and Intel based, which is S. So a lot of you have asked me, how does this laptop compare to the M433 instead? And yeah, today's review will be talking about those two laptops in comparison and which one you should buy. So first, let's talk about the design of the ASUS VivoBook S15 S533. Exterior wise, it's actually the same between the newer VivoBooks, the S14 and the S15. The S15 is just an enlarged version of the S14. The build quality is exactly the same, and one major difference here is of course the color itself. So the S15, I would call it a deep pink kind of red color. It's not really red, but not really pink either. It's a mixture between both of those colors. It is also available in the two more conventional colors, which are Dreamy Silver and also Indie Black, which we have actually showed off at the previous review for the M433. And of course, my personal favorite, Gaia Green. And speaking of the colors themselves, all of the three colors, except for Indie Black, it comes with this kind of silvery keycap colors, and yeah, this is the only main difference that I can find between all of the four different colors. Overall feel when you type on it is actually almost identical as the S14. It is still very soft and yet springy, so you won't feel any fatigue if you're typing for a long time. But one thing I want to say is that this silver keycap is much smoother compared to the Indie Black's black keycaps. So if your fingertips start to sweat, like mine always does when I started typing for about an hour or so, my fingertips start to slide around the keycap. So maybe that's something for you to take note of. And then for the trackpad itself, I want to say that this laptop has the same trackpad as the VivoBook S14 M433, but I felt that this trackpad on the S15 S533 is actually a bit better. Tracking is the same, but palm rejection on this S15 is a lot better, for sure. I always type with my hands hovering on top of the trackpad itself, and this one doesn't have any accidental touches or just the mouse doing some sort of disco dance on the screen. Another thing I want to highlight about this trackpad here, I'm not sure if this is applicable to the S14 as well, but when I started clicking on the trackpad itself, remember this one is using this kind of integrated trackpad design, and it just gives off this kind of high-pitched, loud clicky noise when you click on it, as you can hear here. And as for the screen itself, I also want to say it's actually the same as before. The colors are not really that accurate, but of course for my seasoned eyes, I always look at Premiere Pro and Photoshop, so I know what good color looks like. But for most of the cases, most of the use cases, this laptop screen is good enough. But the brightness is still about the same, 250 nits. So if you sit beside a window on a bright sunny day, you might want to crank up the brightness all the way to the max. And the bezel size is also the same as the S14, at least it's proportionally the same. And the webcam is still at the center top of the laptop screen itself. As for the ports itself, it is actually exactly the same as the VivoBook S14 M433. You still get a barrel jack here, full-size HDMI port, USB 3.0, 5 gigabits per second, and then a USB Type-C, another one, 5 gigabits per second, headphone, audio combo jack here. And then on the right side, you have double USB 2.0 Type A, and then a micro SD card reader and two indicator LEDs. Overall, the ports still the same complaints that I have. Double USB 2.0 ports is too much. Give me USB 3.0 instead, because USB 2.0 should be obsolete at this point in time. So now, the main differences between this laptop and the S14 M433 is of course going to be the specs. So, like I mentioned at the top of this video, the S15 S533 is running Intel-based chips, and it also has an NVIDIA GeForce MX 250. So yeah, when combine that MX 250 with the Intel Core i5 10210U chip itself, This laptop is very capable in terms of your day-to-day use. I would say it is one of the best and most affordable all-rounder laptop because at the price of 3,199 ringgit, you can play some games at medium to higher settings if you want to scale down in terms of your frame rates. And I did try Overwatch on this laptop. I got about 60 frames per second. About that, it's kind of dipping high and low sometimes, and there are some occasional frame rate drops when I'm playing, when there are intense actions happening on the screen itself. And I'm playing Overwatch on medium settings, so yeah, I get a very good experience out of this laptop. And for most users out there, an Intel Core i5 is plentiful for your day-to-day use. Intel Core i7, I would say it is not really that important unless you're doing MATLAB, AutoCAD, Maya 3D, maybe, and also Premiere Pro, because all of these apps do require a much more powerful CPU. And since this laptop is running Intel, the battery life has also changed. So this laptop is also coming in with a 50 watt-hour battery, which is exactly the same as the S14 M433. But the battery life that I got here on my usual workload is about 7 to 8 hours, which is definitely an improvement over the AMD-based systems. However, I do have to shut down Photoshop when I'm not using it because leaving Photoshop open, it will activate and use up that MX250, which will drain more battery. So these are some quirks that you need to pay attention to if you're getting this laptop. And so what about upgradability? And opening this laptop is also exactly the same as the S14 M433, just a few Torx screws at the bottom and then you can get everything open. However, you do need to pay attention because the plastic clips at the bottom of this laptop is tough. Yeah, I think that's the best word to describe it. I had a difficult time prying open the bottom panel. Just be patient, you get it open, but just go slow and do not force it open. So once we got the panel open, we can see that there's another extra M.2 SSD slot, so we can upgrade and fit in another M.2 SSD if you want to. And unfortunately, the RAM is also soldered. So the configuration that we have here is an 8 gigs version and it cannot be upgraded. There's only one version available in Malaysia, which is the exact one that we have with an Intel Core i5 10-10U. This laptop also comes with an Intel Wi-Fi 6 card, which is exactly the same as the previous one, the M433. And the thermals, this laptop comes with a single thick heat pipe that runs between the CPU and the GPU. The fan chamber is a bit big and overall fan noise is also kind of high when under load, but I do get that because this is technically, how do you say this, a very basic cooling solution for both a low-powered GPU and a low-powered CPU. And before I forget, another question that you guys asked about the ASUS VivoBook S14 M433 is the speakers. So this is also using a very similar speaker setup. Both of them are bottom firing, which is located at the bottom part of the wrist rest here. And my general complaint about bottom firing speakers is that they absolutely sound like trash if you're using it on your lap or on your couch. So you do need a hard surface to make these speakers sound good, like this wooden table or just any other hard tabletops. The speaker quality when you place this laptop on a hard surface, it does sound kinda loud, and the overall audio experience, I would say it's passable for a laptop, but if you have an external speaker, of course that's gonna sound better. So the final question is, should you buy the ASUS VivoBook S15 S533? This laptop, the exact configuration of this laptop with an Intel Core i5 10-10U, with an MX250, 8 gigs of RAM, 512 gigs of SSD, I would say for the price of 3,199 ringgit, it's a very good deal, because if you compare this with the highest end variant of the VivoBook S14 M433 with the Ryzen 7 4700U, it's exactly the same price, but the performance on this thing is just much more balanced compared to that laptop. So yes, if you have 3,199 to spend, get this laptop. If you have less than that, spend it on the VivoBook S14 M433 with Ryzen 5 4500U instead, which was actually what I recommended in that video. If you want more power, then there's also a Core i7 version, but that's only available in the 14-inch version, which is kind of confusingly named VivoBook S14 as well, but with the codename of S433 or S533, I can't remember. I'll leave the information on the screen here because there are just too many codenames and I can't remember all of them. But that laptop will cost you $3,699, and you also get an extra fingerprint scanner on the laptop itself. So it kind of depends on you if you want to scale up to an Intel Core i7 for the extra performance, or you just want to get something that's good enough for your day-to-day use, especially for university students actually. This laptop is just perfect for $3,199. So that's all we have to say about this laptop. So if you have any questions, leave them down in the comment section below, and we'll see you in the next video.